Rosas, Blaze Media.
Oh, pleasure.
How you
Pleasure.
doing? How you
Very
doing,
fine.
sir?
How are you?
I just wanted to ask you how it feels to see
Not right
that
now.
the
Thank you, though.
United States has a secure border now that President Trump is in office, as opposed to when you were Secretary of Homeland Security. Do you have any regret facilitating an open border, sir? Border crossings are down 95%. Do you regret allowing Tren de Aragua to gain a foothold in the United States, sir?
Unattended baggage is subject to search, inspection, damage, and removal.
You don't have anything to say, sir, about your time as Homeland Security Secretary? Facilitating an open border?
You know what makes me so angry about that clip? Honestly, I could feel my blood pressure rising as we bring in Julio Rosas, national correspondent with The Blaze. What drives me crazy is they were walking by yet another restaurant that was being built in the airport. Are there any of these restaurants that are actually open, or is every single airport in the country building a good restaurant that you can't eat and drink at yet? Julio, talk about that.
Well, thankfully, because since I travel so much, I use the Centurion Lounge whenever that's available to me. So I'll let you deal. I'll let you deal with those restaurants.
Okay, Tommy Topper. I didn't realize that's what we were going to do today, Julio. Some of us don't have access to the Centurion Lounge. Okay, I don't even know what that is, but it sounds Roman. What was it like, though, speaking to the former head of DHS, the man who facilitated the barbarian invasion of the country that you and I love so much?
It was weird. Just because obviously this is a man that I had paid a lot of attention to, obviously, during the entire Biden-Harris administration. The last time I was able to ask him a question was during the Haitian bridge crisis in Del Rio, Texas, and that was all the way back in 2021. He as you can imagine, he wasn't too happy with my question even back then, and so it was just weird. Just because I wasn't expecting to see him when I was traveling to Washington, D.C. And once I realized that, he's here and I can actually finally, after all this time, ask him stuff. So I obviously wanted to say a lot of things, but to remain professional, I wanted to, make sure I asked the right questions. I understand there's a lot of things that thinking back on it, which I wish I could have also asked, although obviously I'm sure that his answer would have remained the same, which was obviously nothing. But it's just another reminder that, this guy did this for 4 years. He stayed the entire time. People could say, well, maybe he was trying to fight it on the inside and, maybe not have disagree with it. He's like, well, okay, that's fine. But then he could have left. He could have quit. He could have said that this isn't working, but he didn't. He made his choice to stay and continue to follow the orders from the White House to open our borders, allow this invasion, come hell or high water. And so I understand people have a lot of questions as to why he's not in jail. That's another fair question, and that's something that I hope that the Trump administration at least addresses at some point in the near future, because the damage that this man did to our country is profound. It's long lasting, and it's creating all these problems right now that the Trump administration is having to clean up. And as we can probably guess, it's probably all not going to be entirely solved at the end of President Trump's second term.
No, of course it won't. You're not removing 20 million people in 4 years. It's easier to bring them in than get them out. It's just not possible. And honestly, I'm glad you brought up the evil, the treasonous nature of it, Julio, because I just can't get it out of my mind how inherently evil all this was. These people created an app to facilitate, not to allow, to facilitate the invasion of our country. People forget our taxpayer dollars created an app for foreigners to come into the country. It's just so bonkers it doesn't seem real.
And the whole reason why they did that is because the optics of thousands of people crossing the border every day illegally was tanking the numbers, and so they said, well, we have to do something. It's like, well, if we abuse the parole authority that we have, and we'll let them in, day by day through this app, that will make things better for us politically. And of course, that's not. Thankfully, people didn't buy that lie, right? People didn't buy this. Oh, well, everything's fine now because there's CBP One. Because then we got cases. In some ways, it's even worse because now we got cases of where they're supposedly being, checked out with their background and criminal history, and okay, they're good to go. and they just purposefully released these people who went out to commit horrific crimes. So, and it's all through the app, right? And so it is very angering. I mean, I've been feeling better about it. I mean, I just come back from El Paso recently. Obviously, nothing is happening there these days compared to 4 years ago, or during those 4 years. But just because that it's finally over and things are now going in the right direction, like I said, people need to be held accountable for it. And it's unfortunate that the expected response is like, well, they're probably not going to get away. They're probably nothing's going to happen to them. And yeah, I mean, he's just walking freely through the airport with what I presume to be his wife, and they're just going about their day as if nothing happened. And so, even though, yes, I know I guessed that he wasn't going to answer my questions, he wasn't going to like my questions. It's just at least it was to tell him, hey, people don't forget. There's still people out here that still want answers from you because you were a big part of this. And if another opportunity arises to question him again, obviously I'm more than happy to do that. But it was a very profound moment just for me personally, just because I spent so much time at the border. I've been tracking it, I've been seeing it, and so to finally have 2 minutes, right, to just hit him with questions and to have his non-response sink in. It was I mean, admittedly, it was satisfying. It was really satisfying for me, even though it wasn't obviously what we wanted necessarily.
Yeah. Julio, how were things in El Paso at the border? A lot of people don't know, but El Paso means the pass in Mexican. What was it like down there?
The Border Patrol agent that I was with, it was early morning, the sun was rising, and he said something that I hadn't thought of in a while, which was it was very peaceful. It was actually peaceful, right? And you just had the chickens in the neighboring Mexican border town that were just they're the only noise being made. But it was crazy, right? I mean, that was the first time I was able to actually do anything with Border Patrol since October of 2020 in El Paso, in the El Paso sector. That was the last time I was able to do anything with them in any official capacity, because obviously once things got out of control, the Biden DHS didn't want media to be with Border Patrol to actually see firsthand what was happening. So we had to go through Texas DPS. We had to go through the Border Patrol Union. We had to find all these different. We had to go into Mexico to see things from that side, right? And that obviously has its own dangers. But we did it because we couldn't go through the official United States Border Patrol. So I'm thankful that the Trump administration has opened access back up again to that. But of course now things are over. And the story itself isn't over, right? And there is always going to be problems at our border, but it is just, I mean, it's a night and day difference, right? And we know that. But to see that finally, when El Paso, they had the bum rush at one of the bridges. That was where Venezuelans stormed and attacked the National Guardsmen. It's where they had those street releases in the middle of winter because Border Patrol couldn't hold anybody, so they had to release them out into the street, and they were homeless. So El Paso has been through a lot, along with obviously the rest of the border. So to see just things actually normal and things how they are actually supposed to be with a secure border, again, it was weird. It was weird, but it was good to know that at least for now, this is how things are going to be. And I can tell you that the majority Latino residents along the border are very, very happy that things are finally, there's not a border crisis on their backyard anymore.
I bet they are. Julio, Semper Fi, brother. Thank you. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.